Cheers, everyone, and welcome to Sippin Gears. I'm your host, Ashley. Yeah, you heard that right. That's Ashley for a guy. Yeah, there's a few of us out there. I'm a junior. My parents just weren't very original. That's what I tell everybody. Anyways, this is our first video. You can see we got a little studio kind of set up here. Got some Lego cars that I do in my free time. Some books. I've actually read them. It's unbelievable. Uh, Beard. Always gonna have one of those, right? Can't go wrong. Some more books. Haven't read. Trophies. Crazy stuff. Plant. This is Reggie. We name plants here, okay? Anyways, give you a little rundown of what the channel is. Sippin Gears is going to be your new go-to for everything car and beer related. You might be into cars, you might be into beer, hell, you might be into both, might be into all of it. Who knows? Okay, those are my two things. I love them. We're going to tie them together. One week you're going to get a car video. The next week you're going to get a beer video. They're going to go back and forth. We're going to throw in some beer history, some beer knowledge for you. Going to review some breweries, review a beer. We're going to review some cars. There's a cool one in the garage underneath me. My first foray into real car enthusiast ownership. We'll review that car. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but if you know anything about what's sitting on this shelf, you can figure it out pretty quick. But give you a little backstory here as to why we're doing this. I'm closing in on 40, getting old. Need to share some stuff with you folks that I know. Share some fun stories. We're going to bring out some stuff from when I was a kid, working as a porter at some dealerships, some fun stories that will come up that some of my friends will know. Some of you guys will hear and wonder how the hell we're not still buried under a jail somewhere. Same thing with beer. I'll enlighten you to some crazy, stupid stuff I did as a youngster that got me to where I'm at now, got me to the love that I have for those beers now. In the car world, it's a group of people that are from all walks of life that just brings everyone together. You can go to a show, see all sorts of cars, meet all sorts of walks of life of people, and that's some stuff we're going to talk about, some racing history, some craziness. But I'm going to throw out lots of trivia, lots of crazy stuff. Hopefully you learn something along the way. Hopefully it's fairly informative. But yeah, little back up into my life as a kid. My dad was a master technician as I grew up. Worked on cars at work during the day. Came home, same thing. There was always a car at the house being worked on in some shape or form. We had lots of go fast stuff as a kid. Nothing pretty. I had a Chevelle at one point that, maybe one day we'll drag my dad in here and let him tell you about it. But I can remember him taking me to school and me asking to be dropped off down the block because it was so ugly. It might have went fast in a straight line, but it didn't do anything else pretty. So, but as a kid, that's where I can remember really finding a love for cars, is watching my dad work on them and looking at the posters he had hanging up in our garage and putting up posters in my room. As a kid, there were Lambos and Ferraris, Countaches and F40s, those things that just spoke to the emotion of what a car should be. Doesn't have to be a Lambo or a Ferrari to be a cool car. There's lots of stuff out there. I've owned some stuff that is neither of those. Still haven't owned one of those. They're on the list, but we're going to get there. But yeah, we're going to talk about all that kind of stuff. But I fell in love with those cars as a kid and have pursued that love forever. Haven't stopped. I still take time out of my schedule to go look at cars. Hell, we went to a car dealership yesterday just to go look at some of their inventory because they have some cool stuff. That's how I am. That's what I like to do. I love to bring cars to people. I love to let people know that cars don't have to be a utility to go from A to B. That's sure they serve a purpose for that, but there's so much more to them. The same thing with these beers. You don't need a pack of friggin' Natty Light or Bud Light to have a good time. You can have a couple of these things, enjoy yourself, enjoy the taste, enjoy what goes into it, enjoy the science that is beer. You're taking random stuff and putting it all together to make this crazy science experiment. You get to drink it when you're done. How cool is that? So, to kind of backpedal a little bit more, I told you as a kid, probably 4 or 5, climbing in and out of these muscle cars. I get a little older, my dad transitions from working on domestic stuff to working on German stuff and BMW specifically. That is really, really, really where I found home in cars. That's where I found my love for cars. My first job was at a dealership, a BMW dealership at that. Um, wasn't very good at it, might have wrecked 3 or 4 cars in the course of 2 days and got fired for it. But the next summer did the same thing, went to work at another dealership. And at that point in time, BMW was the ultimate driving machine and put out crazy stuff. We were in the Renaissance era of transferring from an E36 to an E46 M3. There were Z8s. People rolling in 850 CSIs. I mean, there was all these cars, and you're handing an 18, 19-year-old kid these keys and saying, "Here, man, go drive this thing. See if you can tell us if you feel what that person's telling us." And we did some dumb stuff, but I got to drive these cars that invoked emotion, invoked laughter, invoked fun, sometimes scared, invoked that frightened sense of excitement, that adrenaline that just gets you like absolutely pumped and going. And you got to see some stuff that now is a cult classic. There's cars out there that I drove at 18, 19 years old that I thought, man, these are cool. Maybe one day I'll own them, and now they're 6 figures because they're so cool. Who knew? I didn't know. Now we know. But yeah, worked in the dealership world forever. Did the car grind forever, and really thoroughly enjoyed it. Enjoyed all the passion that comes along with those cars, and just found myself falling in love with cars all the time, over and over and over. I can't get away from them. I have one that I drive daily that's a toy, but it's also a machine that brings me happiness. It's so cool. It's just one of those things. If you have that passion in life and you can find something that does that for you, do it. Mine is cars and beer. I found these maybe at a bit too young of an age. There was a point in time where I thought it was kind of cool to come home before anybody got home from work, and I'd come home from school and hanging out with all the neighbor kids, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have a beer. My parents didn't drink. People would bring beer to the house and leave it in the fridge. They'd never know if one was gone. So did I take one, take a sip, and go, oh my God, this is horrible? Yeah, you bet I did. So then to make it better, you mix it with Coca-Cola, because that's the smart thing to do. Coke makes everything better. I was raised in the South. Coke goes with everything, right? Doesn't go with beer either, but that's what we did. We mixed it. We tried to drink that. And we thought that was the thing. And then you get older, you realize that that's not how it works. You go out with your friends, then you start drinking stuff I don't even want to name because it's that bad. But your big brewery stuff that you drink, and you drink a lot of them, and then you realize, man, these things aren't that awesome. And then you work your way into the craftier stuff. And I'll tell you, the first time I ever had an IPA, I thought, oh, Jesus, how do people do this? I had to relearn what beer was. I drank beer for one purpose at one point. It then has graduated into another purpose. I drink these. I might have one, maybe two. And that's it. I enjoy the flavor. I enjoy the science that's gone into making this and the craziness that it is what it is. And I've shared that love with friends. I still do to this day. I have friends that we send pictures of our beers every day back and forth. We trade beers back and forth with one another. and we do insane things. We've brewed beer together. We've got a home brew kit. They come out here. I live in Texas. Those dudes are in Georgia. We combined, made a beer. It was fantastic. So, in a big roundabout way, this brings people together. Beers, cars bring people together. You could say I like bringing people together. And that's what this channel is going to do. I really hope so. We're going to bring folks together. We're going to bring maybe some people that think, oh man, I love beer, oh, but these cars are kind of cool. Let's see what he's talking about, or vice versa. Like, man, I love cars, but hey, maybe I've had a good beer once or twice. What's he talking about? Let's try and merge those. Let's bring more people together and be good humans doing it. So you're gonna find this channel. I'm gonna hope you love it. I'm gonna work my ass off to make sure you love it. And we're gonna bring some really cool content. Like I said, there's some cars that we're gonna review. There's some brands we're gonna review. Some crazy history, be it race history, regular car history, you name it, we're gonna find it. The same thing with breweries and beer. We're gonna find that stuff. And there's some sweet history about where this stuff comes from and how it got to where it is now, and maybe some really crazy brewery owners that you wouldn't think own breweries. Some big names that you're like, oh, be damned, they own that. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring people together. Maybe Reggie will help out too. That's the plant's name, Reggie. But yeah, Sippin Gears. We're gonna do it. We're gonna bring you all things car and beer related, history, trivia, facts, you name it, we're bringing it. Cheers, folks. Be good people.